CrossFit Woburn, what's going on? It's Saturday, and we're going to talk about alcohol. There is not a more fitting time than to talk about it on now. It is Saturday. We're all stuck in confinement. I know that Guido went out and bought like a ton of Corona, so I know that we're going to be crushing that Sunday when he doesn't have work. We also bought like Monopoly, and we ordered some other board games. So, we're going to be filling our time with some long board games, and with that comes a lot of alcohol, because why not, right? Guido just texted me and told me tell them that we are gonna live stream our Monopoly game on Sunday, whoever wants to join. I thought I'd add that because it's pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, if you guys want to join us, let me know, and we can live stream that for you guys. All right, so back to the topic, alcohol, okay? How can I fit alcohol into my macros? All right. First thing is alcohol is the calories of alcohol is processed very differently than when we process food. Okay, the calories from food. Therefore, it affects our body very differently. Okay. From a physiological phase, it affects our central nervous system. Alcohol is also a depressant. Okay. Be looking down at my notes here, so just bear with me. Some good things that are going to come from that is, a mild dose will help with anxiety. So an example of that would be, had a long day at work, and I'm coming home and I'm having, that glass of wine, with dinner, or I'm stuck in quarantine, and all my work's online, everything's kind of up in the air. I'm so stressed, like, kind of just need that to calm you down. That one or two drink, like the mild dose will help with some anxiety. A mild dose will also, keep our fat level low, right? So for example, if I'm having 10 drinks, my body composition is going to start changing. I'm going to start storing some fat. If I'm doing that mild dose, my body comp may be looking a little different, but I'm not going to be gaining or storing any fat if I'm doing it right, okay? Bad things that can come from alcohol, we can only process so much of it. So when we drink alcohol, it plummets the fat burning, okay, the fat burning process. So due to that plummet, it goes into store mode, and our fat in our body starts storing body fat, okay? Hence gaining weight, body composition looking a little different, okay? Often questions that we find are, will alcohol affect muscle growth? Okay. Again, staying in moderation is going to be fine here. We may feel that when, that weight in the gym, the next day that shouldn't be heavy feels heavy. We may feel like that 800 meter, sprint run should have been much faster, but you didn't feel like you could really explode, right? So things like that will be kind of affected, but, the effects on, our muscle growth isn't going to be so drastic. If we drink too much too often, then it will affect things like our testosterone and, our post-WOD recovery and things like this, okay? As for calories, right, drinking in moderation, again, is fine. Our goal is to hit our protein goal, right? So my goal is 120, right? And then I stay within my calories throughout the day. Now, what that means is, for an example, if I'm an athlete who has a 12,000 calorie diet, and I know I'm going out to drink that later that night, I've eaten 1,500 calories. That means I have 500 calories to play with, right? So that means I'm allowed to drink 500 calories, okay? Let me see here. What do I got next? If we find that drinking is leading us to bad behaviors like eating bad foods or drinking more, try to cut back a little bit, and so we don't end up on more of that calorie surplus. So maybe I'm not exceeding those 500 calories, or maybe I'm drinking too much. Now I'm now at a more of a 2,500 calories, right? Which is what we want to avoid. This takes practice, and it's it'll take a few crash burns before we get it, absolutely perfect. I've had a coach for nutrition for over a year now, and I still have some nights that I think that I've got in the back pocket, and then later that night comes and I'm just like, things have hit the fan, Okay, so again, it'll take practice, and nothing will be perfect. With me, I find that when I'm drinking a lot, okay, then I'm sticking to vodka because that seems to work for me. It's also very low calorie, so I can have more of it, right? If I'm drinking beer, right, I feel kind of gross and a little bit more bloated, and I'm more apt to grab, that burger or go through the drive-thru on the way home. So you'll just kind of find what works for you and what doesn't. So again, practice. Okay, let's see here. Again, modification is fine. I'm gonna just keep saying that over and over again. If we wanna keep moving the needle forward in our diet, right, our takeaway is drink in moderation and stay within our calories, okay? So the first thing that we're gonna talk about is 2 ways that we can fit our calorie in our diet. And then we're gonna talk about some scenarios that we may fall into while drinking alcohol. So one way we can do that is we can either count our alcohol as a carb or we can count our alcohol as a fat, okay? Hypothetically, I'm drinking a 100 calorie, or we'll say 100 calorie drink, okay? I'm gonna divide that by 4. That means I have 25 calories. I have 100 divided by 4, leaves me at 25. That means I am using 25 grams of carbs and putting that in my diet. So if I'm counting carbs, I'm dividing my drink by 4, okay? Let's say I have a 90 calorie drink, okay? That's probably my vodka, okay? I'm dividing that by 9, okay? That leaves me with 10 grams, or 10, right? So now that counts as 10 grams of fat. Excuse me. So again, if I want to count my alcohol as carbs, I'm dividing by 4. If I want to count my alcohol as fat, I'm dividing by 9. And all I'm dividing is the calories in my drink by 4 or the calories in my drink by 9. Okay, that's one way. The second way we're gonna do count our alcohol within our calories is we're gonna stay within our calories. Okay, so I'm hitting my protein. I ate a few meals throughout the day. Let's say I ate 1,500 calories. Hypothetically, our scenario before, I now am allowed to drink 500 calories to get me to those 2,000 that I'm allowed for the day. Okay, so that's the second way we can do that. Now, how do I plug this into my FitnessPal? Easy way, okay? One way I can do this is if, let's just say I'm going the calorie route, I'm counting my calories. I'm drinking my Tito's. I'm going into my FitnessPal and I'm typing Tito's handcrafted vodka. I'm gonna click it and it's gonna tell me the exact calories on it. Boom. So now when I go to my main screen where I can see all my calories for the day, I'm gonna see, okay, I have this much calories and this is how much calories that I'm allowed for the day. And I'll just kind of move that needle back and forth that way. Okay, so that's one way you can do that. Another way we can do that is, which allows a little bit of math, okay, is let's just say, again, for easy math, I have 100 carbs that I ate for the day. I'm allowed 150 total for the day, and I want to have 5 drinks of Tito's, and I want to count it as my carbs, right? I'm going to divide by 4, leaves me again roughly around that 25 carb. That leaves me with probably 2 Tito's, okay? If I'm allowed 60 grams of fat and I've only eaten 40 prior to going out, if I divide my 90 calorie drink and I divide that by 9, that leaves me with 10 calories. So that leaves me with 20, if I'm drinking 20 grams of fat. So that would bring me right to my 60 grams of fat, okay? Hopefully that made sense to you guys. If you have any questions, just reach further out to me and I'll love to explain that further, but those are ways that we're gonna do that, okay? And when I'm drinking things like a stout or a beer, it's very hard to find the calories on it, or, you know, so just scan it in or just type it in, and the calories should pop up, and boom, simple math, okay? All right, what do we got next? All right, next we're gonna talk about some scenarios, okay? So let's just say I'm going out to a party and I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to drink. We just talked about this. We're gonna plug our food in for the day. We're gonna have an idea of what we ate, and then we're gonna go from there. So just having a plan in sight, okay? So again, I'm plugging in all the foods, my breakfast and my lunch. Maybe I'm plugging in my snack if I have a snack. I'm gonna go to my main screen, look at my calories, how much I'm allowed, and then I'm gonna see how much I have to play with. Or I'm gonna go to my macro side, how many macros am I allowed, and I'm gonna play with it that way. The main thing here, guys, is that we're hitting our protein goal, okay? We could not take these calories or these macros from our protein, okay? We need to be hitting our protein, and the only numbers that we can play with are the carbs and fats, okay? So make sure that we're hitting our protein, okay? Next question. I'm going out to eat and I know I'm getting a burger and having a beer. What does that day look like prior? First, plug in your meals, okay? Next thing, if I'm getting the burger, I'm going to be plugging in that exact meal that I'm getting that night. Okay, that's what I mean by plugging in our meal. So I'm going to be plugging in restaurant burger bun, right? I'm going to probably pick the highest one, the higher content of carb, because let's be honest with ourselves. We always have to overestimate when we go out to eat. Click that, okay? If the menu says something like 7-ounce Angus beef, I'm plugging in 7-ounce Angus beef. Like, they do not lie. Restaurants will absolutely weigh it out, okay? If it says 7 ounces, you're getting 7 ounces. And I'm gonna find that, boom, click, done. If it doesn't say something like that, I'm gonna type in something like restaurant burger, or I'm gonna type in Bubba burger, right? Because we all know burgers are very high in fat. When we go out to eat, everything's cooked in oil, so I always want to overestimate. If I have fries on the side, things with that, I'm gonna plug everything in, and then I'm gonna lastly plug in the drinks that I'm gonna have, okay? And that way I can see, okay, this is how much I'm eating later on tonight. How can I play with my numbers prior, and what am I allowed to? That way I'm not going too far overboard, okay? Very simple. Things that I'm gonna do prior to going out to eat is I'm gonna stay away from fats. I'm gonna up my veggies, so I'm gonna be filling my belly with a bunch of veggies, okay, throughout the day. I'm gonna be staying closer to leaner meats, all right? I'm gonna be going for the lower calorie carb, and the easiest way to do that is by eating fruit, okay? Fruit is just a carb. You know, some berries will maybe get you a little bit of protein, but fruits are the best way to keep the calories low. We're gonna drink tons of water. In the morning, I'm probably loading up on a ton of coffee to just kind of keep my my hunger kind of leveled, and I'm going to be filling up on a bunch of soda waters and things like this that's super bubbly to keep my belly full. Okay. All right, next thing, if things hit the fan the night I go out and I overdo everything, what do I do the next day? Okay. More than often, you're just going to take the hit and you're going to move on, okay? Because this is a learning experience, and it takes some time, okay? I suggest this mostly when drinking kind of enhances your experience. So, you know, an example would be like your dad's 60th birthday party, or maybe your family and friends come down and you only see them once a year. You know, it's the holidays, you know, something like that, okay? Something that I would also suggest is cutting your calories back a few days later, okay? And this is something you can talk further with your coach who's helping you with your nutrition, but at the end of the week, it's all about calories in and calories out, okay? So, you know, Monday through Sunday, if I add up all my calories that I'm supposed to be hitting total for the week, right? I wanna make sure I'm hitting that total number by the end of the week, okay? So maybe having a few catch-up days, a few days later, and that's another way we can do that. I don't highly suggest that, especially right now when we're learning how to do our macros, just because it is hard. Days after drinking, there's also some sacrifices that come with that as well. So again, it's another option, but not something that I suggest right now. I'd rather you guys just hit your calories and learn, what your meal should look like and things like this. But, when we're counting our alcohol, try to stay within range. That way we can avoid playing some catch-up days, because those can be an absolute nightmare. Trust me. Just trust me on that one. All right. Things that we need to look out for the days following after drinking, okay? 1, poor sleep. Absolutely going to affect that sleep. 2, increased cravings, right? Hence why those catch-up days may be really hard. Maybe you absolutely came out alive Saturday night, but Sunday you are just craving bad food, okay? Things like this that you'll notice. You'll also notice that your weight will be up for 4 to 5 days. So if I'm drinking Saturday, by Thursday, Friday, the absolute latest, I should be back to my normal weight. If I'm not, then we probably did something wrong. And that's when you're going to communicate with your coach, and you guys are going to come up with a plan. Okay. Next thing is performance in the gym is probably going to be decreased, right? I'm not going to be as fast twitchy, and that weight that shouldn't feel heavy is going to feel heavy. And lastly, I'm just going to feel a little bit sluggish. Okay. So hopefully you guys got a little bit of some few tips on how to count our calories. Excuse me, I keep saying that. How to count our alcohol, whether it's from a macronutrient standpoint or from a calorie standpoint, what we can do leading up to counting our calories, and how we can do that with also staying in line with our diet, right? Because again, macros allows us to eat whatever we want. As long as we're staying in our range, then we're good to go, okay? Also, guys, don't forget that we are still hitting our total protein. We're only playing with carbs and fat, okay? If you guys have any questions, please reach out to me. I'd love to answer any questions that may arise with alcohol or, scenarios leading up to that. Reach out to Brandon or Mike. They will also help you further with that. Again, guys, enjoy the weekend. If you want to stream with me and Guido and Monopoly on Sunday, let me know, and we'll set that up and see you guys on the other side.